Good morning. This is the Park County Commission regular meeting for Tuesday, March 1st at 9 a.m. We have one public hearing this morning, public hearing to consider overall community needs and potentially competing or alternative proposals for community development block grant, affordable housing development, and rehabilitation funding.
Who's who there, Scott?
You
need me to tell you who's who on there? No.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you're not talking to us. If you could mute yourself, just because we are recording you and broadcasting you. Kristen, are you on this morning?
Hi, Steve. Yep. As with most MDOC community development block grant programs, we do have to go through a public hearing process for potential to apply for these funds. So we have this public hearing so that interested parties can speak out on some of the overall housing needs, including those of needs of low to moderate income persons. And I think this morning we might have Lila on from HRDC, who might have some information, as well as any other parties that might be involved.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear from HRDC, just so we have some background on this, if someone's on from HRDC. Okay.
And if no one's on, Steve, I can tell you that their idea is to, I can read off of their information that they sent, but they just want to apply for the CDBG Housing Development and Rehab Grant for a home rehab program to serve low and moderate income households in Park County. If they secured that with Park County as the applicant, they will qualify to access the CDBG Housing Stabilization Program funding pool for a period of 5 years. They apply for that funding, but the county does have to submit it.
Okay, good. So is there, just to clarify, is there a commission decision this morning on this issue?
No, it's just a public hearing to hear any other ideas for that grant opportunity.
Right. Okay. All right, this public hearing is now open. Is there public comment on the consideration of overall community needs and potentially competing or alternative proposals for CDBG affordable housing development and rehabilitation funding? Public comment.
Mr. Chair, I think Lila with HRDC may have just popped on.
I saw her on, but Lila, are you looking to add some information, or are you just on for questions?
Hi, I joined, I think, just in time, was having a couple technical difficulties. I believe today is the opportunity for other applications. So I just wanted to mention that, we are looking at applying for CDBG stabilization grants, and that would be a program only for the geographic radius of Park County, looking at doing, accessing the funds for applicable projects for individual home rehab that would be life safety for low income households. So something like helping with a roof that wouldn't fit into existing funding sources, and HRDC would partner with the county to administer that program. So that is our intent to apply. If anyone has questions on that, I believe the process includes a lengthier presentation in 2 weeks from now, if you choose to support this project, or if somebody else joins today and would like to run the same program, we can see if anyone else is competing for that.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Public comment on this proposal from HRDC? Okay, this public hearing is now closed. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Okay, we have one scheduled public comment this morning, Mr. Dave Carter. Mr. Carter, you are on, and you have 3 to 5 minutes, please.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay. My feeling is that the decision to approve the project on Billman, Canyon View, and Loves Lane regarding the one-way is made with the deficiency of real and valuable information and understanding of accepted norms in how people navigate these roads. It has been a bit of a rubber stamp approach, in my opinion. Sometimes that works, sometimes it has more negative and lasting effects. In one recent meeting with Matt and Bill at my property, Matt asked me what I want, as if that might be something attainable. I hope to some degree that it could be. This can only end well if you commissioners are willing to revisit this, hear the voices of the people that will live with the results of this tax expenditure, and respond in the best interest of the greater good. Just for your information, the two-way between Miller and Willow, if the one-way persists as planned, will basically serve 9 residences eastbound, while accommodating virtually all of the Wineglass and traffic from above westbound. That seems foolish to me. I was told that this is being done in the interest of safety. There has not been a traffic incident in this area in all my 63 years here. Trading down to narrower roads, given the increased vehicle and pedestrian traffic, safety issues are sure to arise. Bill, you were active in recreating traffic bordering Yellowstone Park in Gardner. Could that have happened without keeping some open dialogue, maybe a few changes along the way? I remember a large window of public comment before action was taken. They were even taking public comment from people down here in Livingston that didn't even live in Gardner. I just want to share a couple of mistakes that were made on Billman Lane and Miller Drive. A little history. Some of it you probably know. Number one, in the early 90s or late 80s, I'm not sure which, we had zoning then. I had a contract with CarQuest to construct a loading dock on Fisk. I bought a city permit and was required to meet setbacks, height requirements, etc. Meanwhile, the city was building a well house on Billman Lane, which was county then. Now it's across from Murdoch's. No regard for setbacks and no permit. Number two, in 2009, the commissioners at that time allowed the road superintendent to replace the bridge on Miller Drive, just downstream from my 37 Billman property. Again, it was constructed in disregard to the county's own construction standards. I saw the book. I know what they were requiring, and I have bridge experience, which indeed would have been imposed on me. Also, according to an engineer that I spoke with, they would be required not to impact the base flood elevation. May 10th, 2011, less than 2 years later, that became a spillway and backed 5 feet of filthy water into my basement. I suffered extensive losses, including months of my life, livelihood, and real property while I did the cleanup. It seems to me that there are 2 reasons for mistakes like this. 1, leaders don't know, or 2, they don't care. In my book, neither of these excuses are acceptable. My mission is the same now as it was when I protested the other 2 mistakes that impacted me as directly as this. I want to help you with the I don't know part. I want this on your agenda again, and I certainly hope that you will consider making the right decision. We want, and there are more people than you have heard from on this. We want this section of Billman Lane and Canyon View to be left alone and left 2-way. We want this section surveyed and easements pursued for future improvement, as Matt indicated, possibly 4 years out. We want and agree that the one-way down Lusk creates a natural convection of traffic up Billman. I feel that for the remainder of this time, the one-way sign should come down on Billman, and we will see that things will still work. Thank you for giving the audience in this important issue.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Is there public comment for items that are not on today's agenda?
Yes,
Okay,
may I
let's go to,
be allowed?
I'm sorry,
May
yes,
I be allowed?
yes, if you just please identify yourself.
Oh, yes, this is Lenore Hodge. And I was wondering, with all the emails and comments that I hope got to you guys concerning all our issues out here, I would like to have copies of the minutes where you guys decided upon one-ways and who all was involved, and also why the how and why access to the wine glass was on the forefront in the beginning of all of this. None of us understand how this is an improvement for the wine glass access. Is there a possibility of getting those records so that we all know who and what was said at those meetings? And I agree with everything that Dave said. Two-way traffic on Billman would be a big benefit for everyone. I know for a fact that a lot of people have been just, going down and violating the signs as they are, and I believe that that'll keep up because that's just the way it's been that way. So for forever, that's how it always was. And like Dave said, no accidents. The only accidents that were ever happening out here were drunk drivers hitting fences. So I'm appealing to you guys to please hear the voices of the community and put it back to the two-way as it was originally done. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenore. And just for your information, you can receive the copies of the minutes either online or you can actually get those also from a clerk and recorder's office.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lenore. Additional public comment for items not on the agenda. Okay, let's go to action items. Discussion decision on surveying an opening county road on 9th Street Island. This is an item that was brought to our attention some time ago, and we retained George Borneman's services to examine the records on historic easements on 9th Street Island Drive, and he did provide a report. So, Matt, do you have any comments on this? This is something you and I have talked about too, and I think the commissioners have had a chance to look at the report.
Yeah, so looking through what George Borneman was able to put together, that is in fact a county right of way. It has been a while since it's been used, and with the no maintenance on it, we can't exactly figure out where it went as far as maintenance of that area. And in addition, talking to Shannon, any work we do with that right of way, we need to have a surveyor go out and stake exactly where it goes. So I would like to kind of have you guys provide direction so that we can get it scheduled this year of having George go out there, survey it, show exactly where it is, give the homeowners or property owners the opportunity to move any items that are in the right of way, and then my crew can come in sometime this summer and get the road open and to a drivable level.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Public comment on this agenda item.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes. Who's speaking?
Hi, this is Carrie Kale from Park County Environmental Council. I would like to make a brief comment on behalf of PCEC. We just wanted to thank you and let you know that we support the county doing the work to understand where that public easement and access is so that we as a community don't lose that. So thank you for moving forward with that.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Additional public comment? Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, growing up in Livingston, that 9th Street Island is probably one of the best fisheries there is in the Yellowstone River. A lot of
Don't
fish.
put that out there to the public.
I know, but it's important. I grew up fishing on 9th Street Island, and I'm all for opening the county road, having the survey done, and taking down the structures that block people from using the Yellowstone River. There's a lot of area in there that could be used, and I'm all for that.
Okay. Mr. Berg, any thoughts?
Yeah, I would definitely. It was a pleasure reading through that report. It goes back 140 years. There's a lot of history around here, and we're not the first ones to try to get things right. Whether it's Billman and Loves Lane, or 9th Street Island, or Monument Avenue. So in the interest of getting it right, I move that we direct the Public Works Department to have a survey done and open County Road on 9th Street Island.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? And I think we can probably ask George to continue with the project, since we do have under a general services contract, and he's already done a lot of the legwork. So.
That's
Okay.
that's if you guys pass it, that's my plan. I just want to work with him so that we don't have him survey it 3 months before we're able to get there and all the stakes are pulled out. So it's just
Exactly.
kind of a plan or a timing thing at this point.
Okay, good. All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, thanks, Matt. Discussion decision on certification signature for Big Sky Trust Fund Job Creation Grant application. Kristen, do you want to lead off? I know we have Paul Reichert on as well. So.
Sure. Prospera is working with Glassy Baby on a job creation grant through the Big Sky Economic Development Trust Fund. And so Park County would be the applicant. It has to be a local or tribal government. We've done this before with PFL. Glassy Baby is hoping to use that grant funding to help offset costs for major equipment purchases and new employee wages. They would hire and train local people in Livingston and the surrounding communities to blow glass, and then also retail, QC, and etching departments. And their hope is to hire approximately 140 employees, 75 of which will be Big Sky Trust Fund eligible. So we have this on the agenda today for review and signature on the certification form. And Paul is available to answer questions for you guys.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. Paul, anything to add right off the bat here or not?
No, just very, very briefly. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is the first time we've done a job creation grant in Park County that we've been involved in. So really glad to have it on the agenda today. You know, we're doing a lot with small business owners across Park County all the time. It doesn't always reach your desk or meetings. So just want to thank you for considering it. Kristen mentioned it. These grants require a local government entity to sort of sponsor the effort. And I have on the call this morning Susie Brigette White, who worked with the business, and Alexa Freeberg, who's our grant manager. If you want to get into some of the details, maybe they can mention a little bit about the company, the business. Susie, if you want to just mention a little bit about your work with them to get to this point, and then Alexa, if you have any other comments. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you,
everyone.
Paul.
Thanks, everyone. I'm Susie Burkett White. I do business development for Prospera. I've been working with Glassy Baby for about 4 months. They're an amazing company that's based out of Washington, and they've purchased a property in Livingston where they want to create jobs and do votive glass manufacturing there. They're going to be looking for glass blowers. They're going to be really looking to connect with the community. They've already started to donate to the community through their foundation. So they're getting really involved. I've introduced them to a lot of folks in Livingston, Chris King, Gavin with the Park County Community Foundation, and lots of other organizations in Southwest Montana. So they're really looking to really connect with the communities that they're working in, and they really want to do good work and help train and kind of create like a pipeline for people to be able to prosper there at their company. So we're really excited about the work that they've been doing, and they want to pay well and they want to provide benefits, which I think is a great thing for Southwest Montana. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, public comment on this agenda item. Commission discussion?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the certification signature for Big Sky Trust Fund Job Creation Grant application.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
And the request is for $375,000, is that correct?
That is, this is Alexa. Hi. That is correct. It's a $5,000 reimbursement for each net new hire. And they're planning on, they're applying for 75 jobs.
Okay, that was a question of mine as well. I think the other document we're considering has a number of 405,000. And could you just clarify what the difference is?
Yes, that's my error. The document that has the 405 includes Prospera's admin fees. And in talking with the state, they asked us to lower part of an equation to make it for the exact 5,000 per net new, which makes it 375,000.
Okay, good. So the resolution is correct. So,
yes.
Good. Thank you. Additional discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, we have a companion item, discussion decision on signing a resolution for submittal of Montana Department of Commerce Big Sky Trust Fund job creation application on behalf of Glassy Baby, LLC. Kristen?
Similar to other resolutions you guys put forward for our MDOC applications, this is spells it out in front of you, and this is for submittal of that application probably within the next few days.
Good. And as before, we are essentially a conduit and for the funds, and so no obligation on the part of the county except to be that conduit. So. Okay. Public comment on this agenda. Sorry,
we probably
go ahead.
will be working on, which we have with PFL in the past, the admin fee structure.
Yes, yes, and we should receive some compensation for that, correct?
Yes.
Good, good. All right, public comment on this agenda item. Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we sign the resolution for submittal of MDOC BSTF job creation application on behalf of Glass Baby LLC.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Thanks to everyone for putting this together. It looks like it could move the dial a bit around here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, great project. So appreciate Prospera for taking the lead on this. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you all. Thanks for your time today.
Okay, best of luck.
Paul.
All right, discussion decision on approving a ground lease of site number 9 for Yellowstone Air Service. Matt, are you on still with us?
Yes, so this is simply a transfer of lease from one person to another. They have already privately transferred the holding of the hangar, and then just the ground lease associated with that hangar needs to go before you for transfer.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Public comment on this agenda item. Commission discussion? Looks like mostly a housekeeping item.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that we sign the ground lease for site number 9 for Yellowstone Air Service.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Discussion decision of approval of T-Hangar lease for Andrew Sanders. I don't see any background for this.
No. So commissioners, this is Matt Whitman again. So this needs moved to next week. The standard form they have for building leases doesn't exactly work for T-hangars. So I'm just doing a few more edits to it before it's ready for your approval.
Okay. So we entertain a motion to postpone consideration until March 8th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, thanks, Matt. Discussion decision for authorization of Fairgrounds and Parks Director as authorized representative for Park County. Morgan, are you with us this morning?
I am, yes. Good morning.
Morning.
So this is an authorization to allow me to sign facility rental agreements for folks wanting to host special events at the Fairgrounds and Parks Department. MACO had recently given new guidance and new requirements for hosting special events within the county. And one of them is that the commissioners should sign off on all of those special event facility rental agreements. And so this letter would just give me approval to sign those facility rental agreements for facilities at the fairgrounds.
Okay, thanks, Morgan. Public comment on this agenda item. Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we authorize the Fairgrounds and Parks Director as authorized representative for Park County.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Yeah,
Very similar arrangement we have with the Grants and Special Projects Director.
Exactly.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Morgan. Okay, discussion decision on a job offer for Executive Administrative Assistant for the Commission. Lisa?
Morning. We had an interview last week with a candidate for the Executive Administrative Assistant position, and we'd like to make a job offer to her. Her name is Julie Tate, and the offer is just slightly above what the three-step grade would be above the minimum offer toward the target rate. So we'd like to make that offer to Julie and have her accept the position. I'm not sure when she would be available, but I'm all in favor of it. The committee that met with her was excited to offer her the position.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Public comment on this agenda item. Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, I was part of that committee. I was just sitting in, but it seems like a good hire to me, a great fit. We'd be very pleasantly surprised if we get this person. She's stepping down from quite a bit more money she's making now, but I would be happy to make a motion. We offer the Executive Administration Assistant for the Commission, Julie Tate.
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion? And as we have been told, I think the salary offer is slightly above the target, but I think that target is based on pre-inflation dollars, and I think we need to, as we've discussed before, to have a more general look at compensation that we'll talk about later. So.
Yeah, that's definitely an ongoing topic, especially in such a competitive market with inflation.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Discussion decision on an amended job offer for the Health Department Director candidate. Lisa?
Yes. We have our candidate that that the committee has selected, Shannon Piccolo, and we've had some further discussion regarding the salary for this position, and a lot of discussion about the pay grade. It's a pay grade 21, and discussion about the level of experience that Shannon will be bringing to the job. So I'd like to re-recommend this position to the commission to offer her $100,000. Which is within the pay grade. It's still within the midpoint of the pay grade, well below the max. So.
Okay, good. Thanks, Lisa. Public comment on this agenda item. Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we amend the job offer for the Health Department Director candidate and offer $100,000 to Shannon Piccolo.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
You know, this resonates with a previous discussion. It's a competitive market. Inflation is definitely a factor. Recruiting is a challenge in the public and private sector. We've got an experienced county employee who understands how this operating system works, and it's a critical time in the health department.
I agree, and I think that a lot of her experience the last several years, especially, has had a bearing on a number of health department issues, and I think she comes in with a little more translatable experience than I think some other candidates might, and so I'm really enthusiastic about her coming into the position. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Another one for you, Lisa. Discussion decision on a job description for a temporary position for COVID-19 community health specialist.
Yes, thank you. This is a position that is in the job description. It indicates that this is for the recovery, for COVID-19 recovery. We're expecting it to be a temporary position to get us through the next several months to make sure that we have all of our reporting in order so that we can move forward, but make sure that we are completing all of our reporting correctly and have that manpower to do that. So that's what this position would be, a temporary position to further our recovery for the COVID-19 effort.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Public comment on this agenda item.
Good morning. This is Laurel with the Health Department.
Morning, Tom.
We do have a task order from the state, so this is a covered position. Likely no county dollars will go to support that. And this person, whoever it may be, will also be helping us kind of refigure the pieces of the puzzle. A lot of things got turned up in the last couple of years, and we need to put it all back together to do the best good.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. And that answered my only question on this. Additional public comment? Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the temporary position for COVID-19 community health specialist.
I enthusiastically second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Yeah, there's a transition going on here, and I think the health department is uniquely positioned to deal with it. Their two Casper surveys, and now embarking on a strategic plan exercise as well as the CHIP process. I think it's really timely, and I think we're in a good position to help Park County with the next chapter.
All agreed. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Another one for you, Lisa. Discussion decision on an offer for a short-term position for executive administrative assistant to the commission.
Sure. Thank you. So this position, you had a discussion last week. Rosemary, our commissioner's assistant, had put in her resignation effective today, March 1st, and you had some discussion and discussed the potential possibility of having her work as a short-term employee in the interim until we have a new person on board. However, there was some discussion with the PERS system, and that may not be possible to do at this point. So we'll have to discuss further how to handle this, whether Rosemary's last day is today or whether she's able to continue to work in another capacity. But the short-term position, there's a wait period of 90 days before an employee who is a retiree can come back in a short-term position. So I'm not sure if you need to make a determination at this point.
Well, that's
regarding
a
the
good
position.
question. Yeah, it's a good question. Do we have any fallbacks to maintain or to cover the gap?
Yes, yes, we could do that. We'll have, I mean, we have the people that are trained in the position to be able to pick that up.
Okay. Public
As far
comment on
as,
this? Yeah, sorry, Lisa.
sorry.
Okay, public comment on this agenda item.
Yeah, this is Rosemary.
Yes, Rosemary.
Yeah, I was just informed shortly for the meeting that was the situation. So the conversation is basically that because it was just discovered that offering a short-term position that the HR director, along with the finance director, just discovered this information. But I would like to have it on the record that when I had spoken with the commissioner last Friday at the exit interview, the opportunity to come back as a retiree, short-term with the county, that was something I had spoken with the finance director. It was just a discussion, no decision was made, but that's where, when I came to the commission, that's where that idea came from, is because I had spoken with the finance director. So, yeah, so we can chat later about this, I guess.
Okay. I would ask if there's, and Lisa, you probably know the answer to this, but is there an opportunity to amend the termination date?
Yes, that is a possibility, and you could take that into consideration.
Okay. So are we in a position to even make a decision on this at this point, or do we need to do a little more homework?
I would recommend that we do a little more homework and look into it further and see what our options are for what we can offer.
Okay. So do you want to postpone consideration until next Tuesday, maybe?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Public comment on this agenda item, just so we cover that. Commission discussion.
Yeah, it sounds like this item will need to be modified in any case. But yeah, you know what, for continuity operations, I'd love to see if there's a way that we can have Rosemary help to fill the gap if she's willing and as she is able, and if we can identify what that looks like.
Yeah. Mr. Tinsley, what are your thoughts?
I agree with that. Postpone it till we can figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if any adjustments we need to make in terms of any compensation adjustment, we can always do retroactively. So.
Sure.
Yeah, and we have to be mindful of the fact we don't know yet if the job offer is going to be accepted for.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so we got a motion to postpone until the 8th. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Rosemary.
Thank you.
Okay. The last agenda item is actually a duplicate of the site number 9 considered above, so we'll skip that one. No county board recommendations this morning. County department updates. Matt, do you want to go first today?
Sure. So we've been looking at how we maintain our fleet with the 2 mechanics we've got in the road shop. Those guys have just been doing awesome. We actually took the front load truck from the solid waste department over there, had those guys take a look at it, and they were able to fix a whole lot of problems. That kind of has to do with your guys' approval of looking at getting 2 mechanics there, or promoting one of those gentlemen to a mechanic as well. So we're going to cycle through a lot more of the solid waste vehicles over there just to make sure everything is where it needs to be and do the preventative maintenance. hopefully this makes our equipment run a lot longer and in the long run actually saves us money on maintenance. Looking at next year's budget and a 5-year CIP, with the amount of time everything is scheduled out for ordering things, and looking at just the schedule for the summer, it'd be great to have our discussion for capital projects and everything with the three of you sooner rather than later so we can make sure we get everything scheduled. Is there a time when we want to look at doing that?
Yeah, I've got that on my list of things to try to schedule. Between you and Erica, what's your availability in the next several weeks?
I am out the week of the 14th to the 18th, so it'd be to be either next week or in 3 weeks.
Okay. Would you and Erica both be ready by, say, Tuesday at 1,
I can make that work.
the 8th? Erica,
Yeah.
does that work?
Yes, next Tuesday at 1.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, are you okay with that?
Sure.
Yep, that works.
Great.
Okay,
And then the
good.
only other thing I have is that we've got a meeting with the city commission up at the airport this afternoon, just to kind of give them a tour up there and let them know what's going on.
Good, good. Thanks for putting that on.
Of course, that's everything I have.
Okay. Just one item. We received a letter on the annual certification of county road mileage. Do we need to put that on the agenda next week too?
Usually that's something that I have just been signing, and really they kind of work with Steve J, because they're getting the electronic documents about road mileage changes, rather than me drawing on a map.
Okay, so if that doesn't need commission approval, go right ahead.
Sounds great.
All right. Morgan, still on with us?
Yes, I am. So many of you might have heard that the final guarantee day of ice skating was actually this last Sunday, February 27th. Just kind of looking back over the season, we see that we had 30 days of skating overall, which was lower than our initial goal, but weather was the limiting factor here. Overall, I would say that it was a really great first season. We had over 300 unique skaters that actually came to the rink, and we're finalizing our upload of the skating waivers from this weekend, and so then we'll know for sure how many people actually attended our rink. And then we also had Eastside Elementary School come and do PE at the rink at least 2 different times. We had a ton of support from the community. So we had 14 marketing sponsors for the ice skating rink, and over 40 private donors that just wanted to donate money to the rink, even without having their name or their logo posted anywhere inside, as well as numerous other people that donated ice skates and just came to participate and help as needed. So right now I'm just working on the final report for the ice skating rink, just a recap of the season, as well as be moving into doing a season end meeting with the Livingston Ice Skating Association and just planning for how we can do things better or differently for the next ice skating season. Hopefully it'll start a little bit sooner. Aiming for actually starting in December next year if the weather will cooperate. Other than that, I'm just working on updates to our website and working with the Fairgrounds and Parks Board. We have a couple of projects in the works, as well as hopefully having a new board member join us in the next couple of weeks. So those are the major updates that I have.
Great, thanks, Morgan. And it's been great to see the level of enthusiasm for the rink. It's just, it's terrific. I hope I can sustain that over time.
Absolutely,
Great.
me too.
All right, Dr. Desnick, you still with us?
I sure am. What can I do for you?
Are we getting back to the new normal?
We are getting very, very close. We are currently in what's considered the medium risk level based on new cases and also how the hospital is doing. And that means that unless you're high risk personally for severe illness or you're interacting with people who are high risk, such as in a nursing home or a private home where someone is immune compromised or very elderly, that masks are no longer required indoors or even recommended.
Good to hear. Let the celebration begin.
Well, just not too many people all in one place. I mean, I think
Understood.
we still have to be smart. You know, there is virus circulating. We continue to get cases. It's much, much lower. I think we're at our lowest point since we've been since, early fall, late summer. So tremendous decline. And it's around, and thankfully it's not making most people very ill. So we just need to be protective of those who are most frail. And those people also have options to protect themselves, of course, with vaccine and booster and masking. And we still have home tests available throughout the county and here at the health department, should anybody want some or need some.
Great. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Greg, are you on this morning?
He is at the MACO conference presenting for Park County.
Great. Okay. Mark, are you with us today? Okay, sounds like not. Lisa?
Yes, I have a couple of things. First of all, Kelly Johnson, who is our facilities manager, is going to be, he's transitioning and he's going to be working with the road department and the refuse department in addition to being facilities manager. He was previously at a 0.875 FTE, and now he's going to full-time FTE, and part of his funding will come out of the road department. So I just want to put that through. And he's also working towards getting his CDL licensure. So they're working with him in the road department with that, which is great. Cheryl Radis had an employee review last week, and her supervisor recommended an increase, 25-cent increase for her. There are 25-cent increase for her, which is within the budget for the Wind Rider Transit. So I'll put that through. And then I have several supervisors have requested phone stipends for their employees. One in at the fairgrounds, and a couple of the Angel drivers, and one of the health department people. So I have a couple of those requests to put through for phone stipends for those folks. And we'll continue to work with this and try to have a bigger picture to make it most economical, whether employees are provided a county phone or whether the phone stipend is the best route to go. But that's going to be going through for now, and we'll continue to work with investigating what the best route is for that. And then one more thing, we got an email from MACO, and as we've discussed and you discussed, and we have, discussed so much frequently that our cost of living issues are not keeping up with Park County. So MACO is partnering with CMS actually, and they're doing a new survey, a wage survey. So that is going to be coming out. They'll be sending that out to all the counties, and hopefully we'll get some results from that within about 6 weeks, which will be really good to help us make those budgeting decisions for the upcoming year for our cost of living increases. So I'm looking forward to working with them on that. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, that's certainly timely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Erica?
Oh, yes, this is Erica. So, excuse me, I sent out an email to all the department heads and elected officials last Friday requesting CIP information back. And so I don't know if we want to try to schedule a CIP meeting for everybody other than Public Works, because Public Works deserves their own meeting, which we'll be having next Tuesday. But anyway, I just want to alert you that maybe towards the end of March, can we look at having a CIP meeting for the other departments? What's your
Okay.
schedule?
Do you want to go ahead and schedule something, or do you want to wait and see how much processing time you're going to need in the meantime?
I think I had requested it back in a couple weeks. Let's regroup next week and we'll come up with a schedule.
Okay, good. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's see. Kristen, anything before the project?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Mike, are you with us today?
Yep, good morning.
Morning.
Few things. So the Northwest Energy Project, the potential land swap with them, I've got a appraiser lined up, Ross Winger out of Bozeman. The first individual I contacted was unable to do it. I spoke with Ross. He seems to be able to do it. Looking like maybe early to mid-April, he'd be able to get out there. I did ask him to submit a cost estimate so I can run that through you guys and get approval before he actually does the work. And then I spoke with Northwest Energy, Matt Fettig, and they look like they'll probably have their appraisal of their building done by the end of the month, end of March. So the timing should work out pretty good as far as getting both of those complete. Going to be attending a meeting in Gardner this Thursday to get an update and kind of see where they're at with their neighborhood plan. We've got conflict mitigation. I just wanted to let you guys know I've been working on updating the draft. I've been bouncing it back and forth between Tara Depew, our MACO attorney, as well as her potential replacement that's coming probably, I think, this summer. But she's been in training, so she's also taken a look at it. I've also starting to put together a draft process. I am going to hold off. I'd originally hoped to have the draft before you guys, but at this point, I'm going to hold off until I get back from vacation. I'm taking time off in March, and that way I can present the draft as well as the process recommendations to you guys at the same time. And once I get the process drafted, I'll send that to our MACO attorneys as well as our county attorney's office to just make sure that it's following statute and meets all our criteria and addresses all the concerns of the public. Also want to let you guys know that with Rich Berg leaving our planning board, Taya Cromley was elected the new vice chair. And so she's working with John. And then our planning board application timeline ended yesterday at 4:30, and we had 3 applicants apply. And so I will be meeting with John Heidke, and I'll reach out to Kristen Galbraith, see if she's willing to do interviews again, and we'll set up interviews for those and get you a recommendation to fill that seat. And then last but not least, just want to give a shout out to the folks with the ice rink. I thought it was a big success. My wife was heavily involved, and I know that, there was a core group of volunteers that spent a lot of hours down in that steer barn, and sometimes all hours of the night trying to rebuild ice and just make that thing work. And, we got accolades from folks over in Bozeman and sporting goods stores over in Bozeman that heard a lot about that rink and some of the energy behind it. So I just thought that was pretty sweet. And just to really acknowledge the work that those volunteers, they didn't, all the money that was raised doesn't go to any of them. And they just really put in that time. And it was pretty remarkable to see from my perspective. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I'll definitely second that. Yeah, it's good to hear. Thanks, Mike. Shannon, are you back with us today? Yeah, she may be catching up. Okay, let's go to project updates. Public transportation.
We, I think, have submitted the order for the metal building for the new public transit center. So that's exciting news for us.
Great. All right, but Shields Valley Communication Project.
Just in a holding pattern.
Okay. Growth policy implementation.
Hi. So planning board's going to continue to work on going through the growth policy during their March meeting. And if they can get through it, we should have a recommendation to you guys on a comprehensive update. And if not, they'll be continuing their discussion into April.
Okay, good. Thanks, Mike. Groves Mountain Road, nothing new from me.
Nothing here.
Okay, cybersecurity network upgrades. Chris, anything on cybersecurity?
Oh, whoops. I told you a whole speech and then I unmuted myself. Erica is working with our vendor on that. It should be another month before that is finalized.
Okay, good. Gardner Capital Improvement Plan.
We continue to receive a few emails of inquiries about the plan and what it all entails, and I just keep replying to those, and then we're closing down the survey next week. So we do have a pretty robust amount of public comment and input so far, which is great.
That's great to hear. Okay, minimum allocation infrastructure projects.
Nothing this week, but I know next week we have we're going to reconsider the Live Well 49 request, and then I will be putting forward a request from Counterpoint.
Okay, good. Thanks, Chris. Public comment for the above projects. Meeting minutes from the 22nd.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the meeting minutes for February 22nd.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion, comments, questions, clarifications, corrections?
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Yeah. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Consent items, daily correspondence, public comments. Mr. Tinsley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Airport's a busy place, getting to be busy. A lot of concerns, good and bad, about the airport. So I think in the next few months, the commission will probably get some recommendations from the airport board and maybe Matt. You know, when you have a draft plan of what your airport's going to look like, what it's going to do, and then you get busier than your draft plan can handle, then you got to do new master plans type stuff. So I think they're going to be working on that to make everybody make it a success, but also make everybody comfortable with how the airport's running and what it's going to be doing. So I think you got a lot of airport stuff coming your way in the next 2-3 months for sure. That's really all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Berg.
Yeah, I received a text from Mr. Malone regarding whether we intend to comment on the park's bison plans. Is there any interest from this commission?
You know, Bill, I think 8 years ago or so, the parks management plan was 700, if I remember right. And I think they're wanting to do 800 now. And so, you know, I don't know that it's a bad thing, but I sure like the idea of 700 when they were pursuing that goal 8 years ago. But I don't know if 800 is in effect of Park County that much at all. And as in the past, I kind of more dependent on the science and what people say than my own opinion.
Oh, the same mine, you know, and the science evolves, you know, and I think circumstances evolve. So, you know,
Yeah, and do we have any authority or role to play here?
we have no legal status on that. So.
No,
Well,
I think sometimes the park reaches out to us and asks for a comment, but I haven't seen that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we received an email, I think all of us, from Mike Film, Forest Service, and Steve, I know you responded, so I just wanted to acknowledge that, and that's what I've got.
Okay. Yeah, just following up on the conversation with Mike Thom or the communication, he mentioned some dates, the afternoon of March 7th, which I can't make, but also anytime on March 9th, 10th, or 11th. And I'm wondering if the 10th at 1 o'clock might work for everyone. That would be Thursday of next week.
That works for me.
I have a 2 o'clock that day, but assuming it only goes for an hour, that works for me.
Yeah, okay. And I think he proposed coming up here, and I think we can do that. So I'll get back to him and tell him looks like that would work.
It's good.
And let's see, I did meet with Troy Holt on Friday, who is with the MSU Local Government Center. He is working with Dan Clark to develop some training programs for public officials and possibly board members. And it's in the early stages, but we had a good conversation, and I'll keep you advised as things progress. And I think that's all I have for communications. Commissioner comments?
I'm going to Clyde Park this Friday, at 2 doors down, a little restaurant cafe, to meet local residents in Willsound Clyde Park. And going to the airport today at 12:30 to meet the city commission that's looking at the airport. And that's about it.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Berg.
Just to circle back to correspondence, we had the public comment from Mr. Carter earlier, and there's been robust input back and forth. Have we heard anything, any new information here that would suggest that a different direction?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything new. I mean, we've had various takes or reiterations and reinterpretations of information we've already had. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason to revisit it. And it's at this point, it's an operational issue.
Yeah, I would agree. I appreciate his concerns, but a one-way road is a tool that's used worldwide, and I don't think it's any kind of a revolutionary concept.
Yeah.
So
I think as we've discussed a number of times, just before we leave that, I think I think we had a lot of discussion on alternatives for that area, and it's not ideal. It was developed in such a way that it was not possible to develop roads in an effective way, and there are a number of alternatives in terms of how to address that. None of them are great, but there's no such thing as a perfect solution, and within perfect solution, obviously not everyone is pleased, but it seems to be the consensus that what we're looking to do is the right thing. So I'm pretty good with that.
Likewise. So back to consent items. Mike mentioned the neighborhood plan that town hall is going to take March 3rd at the Gardner School at 6:30. And the community is going to follow up with 2 Zoom meetings at different times of the day on March 10th. So they're doing quite a bit of outreach. They sent a notification to everybody in the 59030 zip code, so looking for robust participation. I and a number of Park County residents went over the hill to look at HRDC's drop-in center last Friday, and it was an impressive operation put together by a bunch of inspired people. And it was really good to kind of see what that looks like and see how they're meeting the needs of some of their struggling residents at a difficult time. And just to note that 150 years ago today, President Ulysses S. Grant signed a piece of paper and created the world's first national park. Speaking of getting it right, that was a pretty significant event around here. Happy Yellowstone birthday.
You're here.
Here. Not much else to add. Let's see. I do have a meeting with the city manager and Erica Hoffman tomorrow afternoon regarding the AV system, the proposals for improvement of that library meeting facility. And let's see. Monday of next week, 1 o'clock, we have a EDD executive committee meeting, and I'll be going to that. And Custer Gallatin Working Group on Wednesday at 1:30. And I think that's all I have for next week.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
Before I second that, it's nice to see Scott from the Enterprise at this meeting. Welcome aboard and hope to see more of you. And with that, I second the motion.
Thank you,
Okay,
gentlemen. I look forward to speaking with you in person one of these days.
Yeah, same here. Good to see you, Scott. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 10:05. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.